Ink of my sorrows. I always thought my tears were just water and salt, but the day they turned to ink, I realized they had been writing stories without my permission. It was late one night, while I was hunched over my desk, reading a letter that should never have reached me. The words on the page were my own, detailing events I had never lived but could vividly picture. They spoke of a shadowed entity lurking just beyond the periphery of my reality, feeding on the sorrow I had unknowingly poured out in my darkest moments. As I traced my finger along the ink-drenched paper, I felt a chill creeping up my spine, whispering secrets of presence that thrived on my pain. The first time I noticed the ink was when my tears stained my journal, forming words I had no memory of writing. They revealed a life parallel to mine, where my despair was a tool wielded by something sinister. I tried to ignore it, convincing myself it was just my mind playing tricks. But the stories etched in ink were too precise, too real. Each night, as I cried myself to sleep, more words appeared, mapping a web of darkness that seemed to tighten around me. The ink bled through the pages, seeping into my world, and with each tear, the stories grew darker, more intimate, and unnervingly prophetic. Desperate for answers, I sought out a reclusive historian known for his obsession with the supernatural. He listened intently as I recounted my experiences, his eyes widening in recognition. He spoke of an ancient force, a scribe of shadows, that feeds on human anguish, manifesting through ink and paper. According to legend, it captures the essence of its victims, weaving their despair into tales that never end. The historian warned me that once ensnared, escape was nearly impossible, and my tears had already become its sink, writing a story I could never control. In a final attempt to break free, I burned every page, hoping to sever the connection. But as the flames consumed the stories, the ink on my skin erupted, inscribing a new chapter directly onto my flesh. I watched in horror as my tears flowed freely, each drop spelling out the grim truth. The entity had not only taken my pain but now owned my fate. The ink was no longer just a reflection of my despair, it was the tether binding me to a darkness that had been waiting for me all along. As the last of the paper turned to ash, I understood that my story had only just begun, and ink would never run dry.